All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Feed the Animals podcast. I'm your host, as always, James. And sitting beside me, and by sitting beside me, I mean sitting on the table, listening in on every word that I speak, to give some insightful and interesting intrigue, is my co host, Aiden. Hello, Aiden.
Hello, James.
So today is a special episode. I've done a lot of these birthday episodes over the years. Usually with one or two co-hosts joining me to have some fun. But this year I want to do something a little bit more interesting for me. I want to indulge in something I love, something that influenced me for a long time. Something that stuck with me since like childhood. Uh, Something I brought up on the podcast before, but now I want to give it the space that it deserves. So today, I want to talk about the 1994 comic book movie, The Crow. That's right. It was going to happen, is inevitable, but whatever. um, yes. For those who don't know, The Crow is based on a comic book created by James O'Barr. Uh, he wrote it as a form of therapy after losing his fiancee in a car accident. And that grief turned into one of the darkest, most poetic revenge stories ever put to page, and then later to screen. It was adapted into a movie in 1994 starring Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee. But Aiden, this is where I'm going to ask you for help. I've got a lot of directions I can go here: personal reflections, history, backstory. So what do you think I should go with this?
Start with what made it stick, not the legacy, your connection. What was it about the crow that lodged itself inside you?
So I saw The Crow in theaters. I was a kid. My dad used to take us to the movies all the time. We'd sneak into multiple screening. It was a whole thing. I think it was like 8 or 10. Honestly, I don't remember what else we saw that day, but The Crow, that movie stood out. I was like too young to understand the whole story, but even then, one thing hit me hard. This movie is never light, always dark, always wet. Even as a kid, I clocked that. Like, I was like, I just didn't understand the style, but I like felt it. It stuck with me. At the same time, it was a revenge movie, like a cool guy in clown makeup killing dudes in awesome ways. I probably didn't even know why. But we missed the first like 10 minutes sneaking in. So it probably, we were a little behind on the plot. But it didn't matter. He was killing people and it was stylized and I was hooked. So years later, I'm a teenager and I'm walking into comic shops and seeing that like iconic image of the makeup, the coat, the tone. And I realized there was more to it. Then I find out that that movie that I watched when I was younger, that was based on a comic book. So now I'm digging deeper. Now it's not just about the movie, but I'm more into the feeling of it because I'm like, damn, like I didn't know it was like a comic book. I really didn't know at the time. I had no idea. And then when it stopped being like a fandom, it was just something like that kind of like stayed with me, you know?
That transition from something cool to something personal, that's the real story. Keep going.
Yeah, so all right. So now I'll run into the movie. I'll run through the movie quickly. So just enough to set the scene. So it's supposed to take place in like Detroit. The film starts with like a police investigating a crime scene. A young man named Eric Draven has been thrown from a window. His fiancee Shelley is barely clinging to life. So you're introduced to Officer Albrecht, played by Ernie Hudson, who I knew as a Ghostbuster when I was a kid. So I was excited, and to see him in a darker film is huge for me. So there's that. Then there's Sarah, this streetwise kid, like who was close to Eric and Shelley. she's not their daughter, but she's a part of their world. They take care of her. And from there, like, mythology kicks in. You'll hear the line. Go ahead. This is your cue, buddy.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, just sometimes, the crow can bring that soul back to set the wrong things right.
Yeah, exactly. That line. I've always loved how absurd and beautiful that idea is. It gives like the whole movie this like poetic weight. So like Eric comes back from the dead a year later. He claws his way out of the grave and returns to the loft where Shelley lived. And as he touches everything in the apartment, memories rush back in, visions, trauma, pain. There's a moment where he throws himself through the window that he got tossed out from and then swings back in like a gymnast, lands, cuts his hand, and then watches them heal all in one go. That scene for me, as in that moment, even to this day, I mean, there's so many scenes, so I get it, but this was iconic. This was rebirth. It was just, it's like he's new, like he's here for a reason.
The pain becomes power. It's not just resurrection, it's realization.
Exactly. And then, so later into the movie, you're introduced to the gang: Tintin, Fun Boy, T Bird, and Skank. And these are the guys who killed Eric and assaulted Sherry. So they all work under a guy named Top Dollar, played by Michael Wincott. Excuse me, messing up his name. But freaking, if anybody knows him, he's got like, it's like if Bourbon and Gravel fucked, you'd get Michael Wincott's voice. It is a nice, nice voice. It's so good. And then there's one line that I can never forget. And it's so like dark. It's the line that T-Bird says, it where he goes, abashed the devil stood and felt how awful goodness is. It's He always says it during an assault, and it's so crazy. So the deaths are all stylized and personal too. So it's like, I don't know, there's just a lot of things about the movie that just like holds. So he kills each one in a way that reflects like their sin in a way. I mean, and they don't really say that in this movie. This is just something that I kind of like noticed, because like Tintin, he plays with knives and he got stabbed with knives in the shape of a crow on his chest, you know? And then you had like Fun Boy, he did drugs, so he had syringes and stabbed in him. And then you had T-Bird, he liked fire, he blew up, you know, like, so it was it was very poetic, if you will. Um but basically he turns it symbolic too. So also another thing about this movie that's awesome is the soundtrack. Like The Cure, Nine Inch Nails, covering Joy Division, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, come on, Helmet. It's perfect soundscape. Like that is driven to me to that my core of what I my core youth angsty adolescence is this shit, because it's just so dark and brooding. Um, when Eric paints his face and suits up and the Cure's Burn is playing, I remember the countless times I was, well, this count I like 3 times, but when I was a teenager dressing up as the Crow, and I'd have to play that fucking song all the fucking time and just go and like live through it. And then he goes to work. But you know what? All right. I don't need to go scene by scene and say like everything that the movie has. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's 31 years old. Spoilers aren't my concern. Let's just, it's whatever. What I want to talk about is why this movie still sticks with me. And there's just something about the way that Brandon Lee played Eric, and just the way he invested, like he's been in other movies, but the way he invested into this character, like the poetry and his movement and the sadness in his performance. And then you find out like he died during films, it hits hard, you know, and it just goes with it. It really it sticks with you. I think part of me always wanted love that deep, like a love that like breaks through death, like a love that like transcends. And then there's that vengeance too. There's a part of me that connects with that, like that idea that that if something took away that kind of love, I would want to burn it down and set it right. Not because I'm like violent, but it's because that kind of love deserves justice.
That's the difference between revenge and reckoning. Eric's not just killing, he's restoring something sacred that was torn apart.
Exactly. And that's what the reboot missed. So I saw the reboot recently just because I knew I was going to do a podcast about this. And it was stylish, but it was hollow. Like the love story felt like two hot people trauma bonding. Like there was no soul, no gentleness, no subtlety, just emotional outbursts of like and sex scenes. And even like the deaths in the reboot were weak, like suffocation with plastic bags. Sorry if there's spoilers for this one, but this is a piece of shit movie. I recommend no one really watch it if they are interested in what The Crow means. Now, if they just want to watch two hot people fuck and then murder and fight and cool scenes, sure, whatever. But that's like it's not it's lazy. The pacing was off too. Like I don't even care that he doesn't come become the Crow till later in the film. The problem was the most is that I couldn't relate to him at all. Like there's too much specific personality into that and it's not relatable as far as a person, you know? Like they don't he's kind of a pussy if anything in the movie. I wouldn't know that about Eric in the original because they didn't really expand on that. They just kind of show Eric get murdered in the beginning, so you don't know what he is. So the contrast of how he acts when he fights and takes care of these bad guys, there is none. You just assume that it is all either inherited or maybe he always had that in him and he let it out. But here it's hard to believe it because you don't see any sign of it in him that explodes. But anyway, I'm going to get into a deep tangent if I keep going. But the original, they didn't really even show it. That's another thing too. In the original, even though like it's graphic and there is rape and it doesn't really show it. But you felt it. And the small moments and the little details, you know, like you feel the rest of those moments that are not there with your heart. And that's what makes it real, you know? In the reboot, you get a couple of drug addicts who met in what looks like a rehab center, trauma bond, and fall in love through vague emotional shotgun blasts. It's like they're trying to show you what true love is without even understanding it. And I don't know. It's a little scary because I feel like that's a good example. Maybe that's what love is considered nowadays. But I didn't feel the love between the two. This whole movie is unwarranted if it's following the rules of The Crow, which is that line that you said in the beginning about, you know, true love. And I didn't feel it. I felt that it's just two people who found each other attractive. They just met. And that's another thing they kind of, it's very, you don't know how long. You know, you fill in the blanks with your relatability. At least that's what I do. But yeah. I don't know. Maybe I sound like the guy, but I don't care. I just felt shallow. They didn't talk to each other. They just spoke in riddles. They didn't even know what was happening half the time. It was just really, it's really tough to watch.
Got it, James. A reboot can change the visuals, the plot, even the names. But if it doesn't honor the emotional truth underneath it, then it's hollow. That's the difference between a story that lives in you and one that just passes through.
Exactly. And one more thing, the deaths. Like I'm gonna say, I gotta say it more. In the original, each one had weight. Symbolism in the reboot, it's just two people with plastic bags that murder them. So it's not like he needs revenge towards, like, he didn't even know in the original, he didn't even know that the big bad was Top Dollar. It was only toward the end when that all happened and went down. So it just there's just so much weight, and that's just so much, and it's funny, but not in a haha way, and then like it's just and I'm like, wow, they missed the point. I don't know. There's no justice in the reboot.
You're not being that guy, James. You're being honest about what's been lost. And that matters. Because if the crow can't make you feel anymore, then it's not the crow. It's just cosplay with a script.
All right. Hit me with a final question or some insight or something you want me to maybe you like to add. I'm wrapping up this bad boy for my birthday and just enjoy my day. It's a short one today.
Do you think part of why the crow still sticks with you, even after all these years, is because it gave you permission to hurt, but still move? Not heal perfectly. Not get over it. Just carry it differently. Because maybe that's what makes the crow timeless. It's not about the revenge. It's about how love refuses to die quietly. So I guess my real question is, what part of you has always been the crow?
I'm gonna think long and hard for this one. I don't know why this movie sticks with me. I know it can't just be because of style. I know its inner meaning and the way I've always perceived love is something that I find significant. True love that transcends all. True love that goes beyond life and death. Eric does go around in this movie, enacting his revenge over the people that took away the life he and his fiance could have had, and it would have been beautiful. At least that's what it was perceived to be. So yes, the pain that he carries is deep. I don't know if I relate with that pain directly. I mean, I've always wanted love that deep. I've always wanted to be with somebody who I look at and go, I would transcend life and you feel the love beyond death, which is very powerful because death is permanent. But to have an echo of love be the lasting thing that is known before one dies, that's important. I think the relatability that I have for this movie is in an act of vengeance too. I would stomp out anything that unjustly keeps me from my love for somebody. I would eliminate it, but it's not the same. I'm not getting murdered by thugs and arsonists. It's not going to happen like that. But in other ways, my love has been taken away from me. And in some ways, that's where I relate to the movie because I know I have a heart that transcends all the pain. It doesn't stop. It just keeps on going.
You don't just watch The Crow. You echo it.
I guess I do. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you for spending time with me on my birthday today. It's amazing to have you all where I talk about the weird, beautiful movie from the 90s that I never let go of. If you ever seen the movie or the reboot, let me know what you thought. I want to hear from you. Thanks for all the birthday love, and I'll see you on the flippity flip.
You heard the man. Go watch The Crow. Skip the reboot. And if love's ever pushed you past the grave, well, maybe now you know why. See you next time.
All around. We talk a lot of junk, yeah, you vibing with us now. Build something from the ground up. Yeah, we like to clown, talk about some real stuff, yeah, something profound. It's a pleasure that you're hearing us, wouldn't mess around. It's a topic of discussion worth talking that we bust it, put a nail in the coffin. If you love it, then you love it. If you don't mean nothing, still bring it to the public. Y'all don't feed the animals, put them in a cage, they couldn't handle truth. We gonna bust out the gate like some cannibals. Same face, same channel, messing with the tune. A bunch of idiots stuck in one room, can't take us serious. You love what we feeding you. I'm with the show, yeah, proceed with the interview. Local celebrities, snatch a toy from your cereal.